All right. Hi. Hi, guys. Oh my God. I'm so blessed to see so many familiar faces. Hi, Valentina. Hi, Sebastian, and so many more other talented professionals. All right. Happy September. It means that in the majority of wedding destinations, the season is slowing down. And that's a good time for the topic that we're going to cover today with an amazing speaker. And our session will be absolutely special because we have Katie Hendricks with us, the founder of Masterfully Managed. And I believe some of you will lucky to meet Katie in person because she is a powerhouse of so many wedding professionals, helping them to organize the admin to grow. And the topic will be exactly the same, how to organize the admin for success. And also, Katie just started her new talent management agency, and we also will touch this topic today because we know from our experience so many talents want to be represented and start working with a talent agent. So, Katie was so kind and generous to share her insights. All right, guys, as a tradition, again, speaking of familiar faces, you know how we start. I always ask you to introduce yourself in the chat. Please put in the chat your name, your location, and your profession. And of course, let's put the chat on fire. Don't hold yourself of sending kind words to me, to Daria, to Katie, to fellow professionals. And again, we usually speak about marketing and portfolio curation and content strategy. And today we're going to cover this back end of the business. So please be present and engage and ask questions, share comments and insights, how you organize your process, because it is not always discussed. And now, Daria, please give some cool facts about Katie to everyone, and then we can start.
Yes, hello, everyone. So happy to see familiar and new faces. And welcome, Katie. Like Elena said, she's a powerhouse and founder. I'm gonna start with Masterfully Managed. It's a thriving agency of 17, I believe, ladies, right? So you have like all the female power in your agency, Katie. These are like I think the most common like let's say word I can use it of virtual assistants, right? So they dedicated to give the small owners, the small business owners, the most valuable thing back, their time. Because I think that Katie knows the best, like the better than anyone in the world. We have so many talents, creatives here in the room, and you all started with this passion to like in with your talent, and but you get buried with everyday tasks like how to communicate with clients, how to up the invoices, to schedule the social media posts. So Kate and her team help to manage this everyday operations, this back end of business, which is really important to be successful. And her recent venture is a former management, which dedicated to representation of the talents in the wedding industry. Katie is a mom of three guys, and like she's super warm, and her expertise is like extraordinary. I just found out that she has, okay, so Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, the bachelor in advertising and public relations, MBA in marketing, and that's not all the masters in education. So, and we've been lucky to meet her several times on conferences in real life, and we just know that she is the best. So, we're so happy to have her here, and thank you, Katie, for joining us today.
Well, I'm so touched. Now, do I just get to leave now? I'm all done. You've done all everything for me. So nice to meet you all. Thank you very much for joining. I'm looking forward to getting chat with you and have time hopefully at the end for questions or anything I can help answer. We can go to the next slide, Alex. I just want to give you guys, you don't need to know my whole story. It's boring, I promise. I live in the country, 6 acres. We've got chickens and a barn cat and 3 kids that are like every other kid in the world. So I'm going to skip over all that stuff, but I want to give you some of the highlights of the business because I do think it pertains to you guys and I think it translates well. So as the gracious introduction said, we really help creatives behind the scenes. So we do everything you guys don't want to do, right? So we heard social media, blogs, timelines, finding a second shooter if you're a photographer, sourcing vendors if you're a planner. I mean, the list is long and it's different for everybody. Some people really like some things and hate others, but most of you are creatives for a reason and you're very good at your craft. And then there's all these other things on your to-do list. So that's really how Masterfully Managed came to exist. It was an accident, which I found out 2 cool things are accidents. Post-it notes, total accident. The stick was not strong enough.
Yes.
Then I was like, wait, what? Someone just told me that. And chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies, they wanted the chocolate to melt, and it didn't. And that's how chocolate chip cookies were invented. I was like, okay, I will associate myself with chocolate chip cookies and Post-it notes. So
I love it.
A friend approached me, and she's a local photographer here, and said, I want to just take pictures of people. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to post on social media. I don't respond to their inquiries. I don't want to figure out the timeline and my travel and write a blog post and remind them of their contracts and invoices. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had been in higher education for 12 years, and I'm very much type A, Enneagram 3, love a to-do list. I was like, I can do all of that for you. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was like, sure, I can definitely do that. I can figure it out. So I started working for her, just myself while the kids napped. They were quite little at the time, and they went to bed at 7 p.m. And I was able to do all of that for her then. My sister is a wedding professional in Florida, and she's like, what are you doing? And I told her, and she goes, is that a thing? And I go, I think it's a thing. And
I think I just started the thing.
It's a thing. She told a bunch of her girlfriends about me, and they hired me. So then it really became a thing. So at the time in Naples, Florida, I was working for a planner, a photographer, and a calligrapher, all from my sister's circle. So that's really how it started. Fast forward a few years, I did it by myself, which I'm sure some of you can relate or are still there, where it's you or nobody, right? We got to a point that I could hire. And I hired 2 people in 2022, at the beginning of 2022. And that really, I hired the way I would instruct anyone else to hire, which was, what do I hate doing? I knew exactly what I hated and what I wasn't, frankly, very good at. And I hired for that. And for me personally, that's blogs. I'm not a great writer, and you can't chat GPT that. I'll tell you why later. But I wasn't good at that, and I wasn't great at Pinterest descriptions, which again goes into the writing. So in early 2022, hired, and then the fun part of 2022, which is systematic failure. That's a very aggressive way to say everything collapsed. It really did. And I don't know if your business has been in a position like that. I certainly hope not. But if you've had to change or course correct, we know that that's normal too. I say my business collapsed, but the truth is my husband actually collapsed. I don't know why I chose to use that word twice, but we were headed out on vacation, and we were going to visit his family in Washington, and we were in Detroit, and he collapsed at the airport. Oh. And the whole gamut, right? The police, the TSA, the ambulance. Anyways, he had a stroke, 40 years old.
Oh no.
And so all of that was, I'll spare you, but we went to Detroit for a few days, couldn't quite figure out what was going on there. He was on a ventilator from the moment they took him. He never woke up for 18 days. I mean, he was out, right? They airlifted him to Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. And I went with him, obviously. The kids went their various places, but we ended up staying out there for 2 months. So for 2 months while he was in the hospital and then at rehabilitation, I wasn't able to do a lot of work. I had what I now can lovingly say, and sometimes we share an office, he's not here today, but I had a 4th child. So once he finally came to after the stroke, which again took forever, but once he was breathing on his own and he woke up, he couldn't talk, he couldn't walk, he couldn't go to the bathroom, he couldn't eat, he couldn't do any of that on his own. So while I was there at the hospital, he might think like, well, why couldn't you just work? Well, I couldn't work because I had a toddler, I had a newborn. That was also my 40-year-old husband. So anyways, things fell apart a bit. I walked into that situation with 8 clients. And at the end, and I don't say this with a lot of anger, maybe a little bit, but I walked out with 3 at the end of the whole ordeal. So, not working for 2 months. Some of them, as you guys can imagine, our job is task oriented. If we're not doing our tasks, like, what are we there for? They needed to find somebody else. For some clients, it was social. They're like, I can't just not post for 2 months, Katie. And the gals that I had hired had only been there just a few months by the time that happened. So anyway, there's some really beautiful stories in that whole situation with the 3 clients that kept me, and really powerful, creative individuals that you all would know. That one of them, she paid me the whole time even though I didn't do a lick of work. Just like really beautiful stories of like people have said, well, we'll hold your spot for you. I'm not hiring anybody else. And so anyways, that I share with you because there's a point to that, I promise, and it's not anything medical. Once I recovered from that, he recovered, I recovered, the business recovered, right? Therein lies the team of 17 now. So we all have our various really like expertise and skill set, as I'm sure you all do as well. You're really good at portraits, or you're really good at logistics, or whatever that niche is. That's how our team is as well. So we all kind of work within our zone of genius, and I'll talk about that as well. But that helped us kind of fine tune what Masterfully Managed would look like, and look for ways to get into the nitty gritty, get into ways to come alongside the business owners, surprise them, delight them, take care of all the things on their to-do list, but really like fine tune our own internal systems. And then as Daria alluded to, Forma was launched just a few months ago. So I'll talk about that later too. But Alex, if you want to hit the next slide, I want to talk to you guys. I think there's a lot of, at least I hear, and maybe I could get some head nods if you agree, but I hear that there's a lot of guilt surrounding like, oh, I should be able to do it, or so-and-so does it all, like, why can't I? I know, there's big names that people pick on and say, well, they do it. I'm like, but do they really do it? Do you know that for a fact?
Because it's not common to actually share that you have like assistants. Before it wasn't a thing and everyone is like, yeah, I'm a solopreneur, I'm a photographer, I'm a planner, I'm a cake artist, and like I do it all myself.
Yeah. Planners, I don't know that other people feel this, but planners carry a lot of guilt with it for some reason. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? No, let's let that go. We don't need to carry guilt about, need to do it all. But if you guys think about it, how many hats you wear, right? I mean, I don't know all of your businesses, but I imagine you're the CFO, your HR, your IT, your marketing, your sales, your customer service. Goodness, there's probably more I'm forgetting, but you do it all because you have to. And I very much understand that. Like, not everybody comes out of the gate and is able to hire. So, that's a lot for someone to carry. And it's also expecting a lot out of somebody that if it's just not your skill set. So, I don't know that the dentist is the world's best example, but I do think of that. You go to the dentist, you check in. You don't check in with the dentist, check in with the front desk, receptionist, and then someone takes you back and gets all the gunk off your teeth, right? That's not the dentist. They're getting paid too much for that. They're not cleaning up my plaque or whatever else I got going on. Then once the teeth are clean, the dentist comes, right? They're highly specialized. They're so skilled. And yes, while that is medical, I still think that applies to artists as well. You are highly specialized and highly skilled. And at the end, when I walk out of my dentist appointment, I don't talk to him about the bill. I go back to the front desk. There's another person I speak with about that. So, I think there's a million examples you could potentially use with that, but it's something maybe in this world that's more of a misconception.
Katie, so far, like so many stories and analogies. I love this, and thank you for being so honest, transparent, and vulnerable with us, and saying like all the background, because like I feel like the people are connected with their own stories right now. I love the dentist analogy. I'm gonna use it. From now on.
We have lots of them because we're not fancy by any means. Like I told you, we live in the country in the middle of nowhere, but we do have a guy that comes and mows the lawn. That's our, our fancy. And I was like, could I ask him? My husband's like, you can't ask him to do that. I'm like, why not? Maybe he would trim the trees. He's like, he literally comes and mows, Katie. That's what he does. That's what you pay him for. I'm like, but would he move the trampoline for me? No, Katie, he's not going to move the trampoline. He's going to come mow. So I thought of that, with the dentist and with all your talented professionals and how all that translates. So if you're, if you're thinking to yourself, what should I outsource, or how do I get to a point that I could outsource? I know that's a hard question for everybody to answer, and it comes down, I think, for a lot of people, it's what is it worth to you? When you are talking about time, some of you know your hourly rate, and so that's helpful to say, well, that takes me X amount of hours every week, and it's something I really don't enjoy. That's another good indicator if you should outsource it, or it's something I'm not good at. So that's generally kind of how we help people to try to decide what to get off their plate. So my suggestion, and anyone could do this, is you could take a list, and might take you a minute because I assume a lot of you do a lot of different things. But if you make a big list of, anything I do, grab at least 2 or 3 days, because I'm sure they're not all the same. So just have something and write it all down. Then go through all of your tasks you've got written down and put next to the things you love, put a heart next to them, right? You love those. Those don't belong to anyone else. They fill you up. They give you energy and joy. Keep those. There are probably some things you do. I hate sending invoices, but guess who has to send invoices to pay their bills? Me. So you put a dollar sign next to those. Those are money. For you, if you're a photographer, maybe going to a shoot. That's probably not. Well, maybe you could get a second shooter, an associate team. Well, we could talk about that. But you put money next to that. You have to go do that, right? It makes you money. And then everything else that's kind of left on there, you can leave it with nothing, or I do a dash. Just okay, I notated you, I acknowledged you, you're not money, and I don't love you, but you're there. I think that that's helpful in knowing where to even start. What would I get rid of if I could? Because you're ultimately saying, if with your time, what's that worth? And then where do you want to go, or where do you want to grow? It's not just, for a lot of people, it is time, but they know they want to do more. They want to have a presets. They want to launch an education company. They want to create a community. Goodness, there are a lot of different examples of dreams people have, and they know with their current workload, they can't do that. So I think kind of taking a little bit of time, making that list, understand, what you are doing and where does it fall for you, will help you to know what to get rid of. So I hope that's an easy exercise everyone can use. If you're not in a position to hire, which again, totally fine. I wasn't for 4 years, and I am now the queen of hire everything out, get rid of it, get it off your plate. It's not worth it. There are so many different things that you can use, right? There are tools and tips, and we're all in the AI world right now. I want to share some of those with you. So Alex, if you can hit the next slide. Okay, so this first one is not actually a program. It's a philosophy I have, and it's just called Touch It Once, but anyone can use it. It doesn't have to just be, it doesn't have to be me. I didn't know I did this until somebody talked to me about it at an old job. And they said, we shared an office. And so, when you share an office with someone, you can't escape them. You hear everything, you see everything. We sat 3 feet apart for 12 years. And they said, I really like how you just touch it once. I was like, I don't know what you mean. And they're like, whatever it is, you see it and you do it. And you don't carry the mental load of it and the anxiety and the worry and the stress surrounding it. You just do it. And I will tell you, that's not something, it maybe is something I'm naturally good at. And I did, like I said, I didn't even know I was doing it. So perhaps I did it as a child, who knows, or my parents ingrained it in me, I'm not sure. But now as an adult, I have to think. This morning, I thought to myself, touch it once, Katie. I was putting away the kids' swimsuits. It's Michigan. It's getting cold here. We're not swimming anymore. I was putting them away. I was making a trip downstairs. I was like, take them all, organize them all ahead of time. Don't make 3 trips to the basement, right? And that's a silly example. But I know for me and work-wise, it's emails. So I see the emails come in and I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna fuss about that. I'm gonna think about it and we'll worry about it. Social media is another one. Let me pull up the images. Okay, 4 hours later, maybe I'll try to write a caption. Oh, are we doing hashtags still? Or are we not? I don't know. So now I gotta put the keywords in. So, I think there's a lot of different techniques. People use like Black Calendar and stuff like Black scheduling. I've never done that. And if that works for you, great. But just if you can mentally tell yourself, like, I'm going to touch this once. I'm not going to read the email 4 times and then decide how to respond. I'm not going to take 3 trips to the basement with these dadgum swimsuits that we're not going to see till next year. I use it all the time for dinner. I use it often. So if I can encourage you with that, it doesn't cost you anything. It's really just a mental check for yourself, and you could do it or you cannot do it. Nobody will know, but I at least wanted to share that with you. All the rest of the things on this list are very much programs or software, and I just wanted to share some of my favorites. So it's surprising to me, and I don't say this to be rude or condescending, because some of the best planners, photographers in the world that I've worked for, you don't have a CRM. And I think it's completely possible to not have a CRM. We could get into is automation good? Is it not good? We won't argue that today. But whether you automate things or have a workflow, I do think having a central place to keep everything is important. So whether, people get your inquiries from email, they get you get your DM, some of you are getting texts or phone calls, are you available on this date, or I want to hire you? Having one place to put it all so you can have a follow-up plan, and also just keep track of everybody. There was somebody that wanted September 6, 2026. I don't know. I'll tell so-and-so it's available. And again, I'm not poking fun or trying to be a jerk. There are plenty of people that run amazing businesses without it. But if you can invest, Honeybook, I know it has problems. Get on Instagram. The people will have complaints or thoughts about it. But Honeybook is a low barrier to entry. It doesn't cost a lot to get. There are ways to make it great. Dubsado, if you've got the money, I'm a big fan of. But I do recommend that to everyone if you can. The calendar and scheduling, that's something, I don't know how many of you are using that. The calendar scheduling, I'll come back to you, Jesse, I promise. I'm surprised how many people nowadays are doing the back and forth, well, I could do this time. Could you do that time? Oh, I could do this time. No, I can't do that time, but I could do this time. Nope, I got doctor's appointment. I'm like, what if we just gave people a link to our calendars? Right? How easy would that be? So, and this is not, I didn't invent any of these, but if you can do that, there are free ways to do it. Google has its own now. I like Calendly. But that is a big recommendation for me, just like a time save and also a customer experience, avoid that back and forth and the time change of, okay, are you in Paris right now? Is it 6 hours different than me or 7?
It's always a hassle. Yeah. To try to figure out the different time zones.
Katie, can I just chime in? I see that there are some questions about the CRM, but I also ask 38 people in this room to share if you use CRM or not, just to have a general understanding. And please put in the chat, do you use CRM or not?
Just and maybe which platform?
And if you use, which platform, because it's going to be very contributive if we share as we speak. All right. Yeah, Katie, sorry.
Oh, now I'm going to get so distracted by all of those. Oh,
you can hide the comments. We will summarize it for you.
Yeah. No, that's great. Okay. I'll keep going. I'm going to try not to look at you, but y'all keep popping up. There's probably a way to make you go away. Social scheduler, if you're not using that, I like Planoly, but again, everybody's different. I think if you can batch your work ahead of time, you get these bursts, or if you are able to hire and somebody can plan that all out for you, go for it. You know, some of us today, I got in the mood to post on social media. I posted. I don't normally get in the mood. It's just not my favorite thing. I overanalyze. Oh, this is going to tick off so and so, or if I say that word, they'll be upset. Or you know, it's the people pleaser in me. But if you know, we do get in these moods. So if you have an option like that where you can schedule things ahead of time, go for it. Project management, and I say that and I stop. Project management, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But we know, not me, Katie Hendricks, the world, Harvard, and all the people that keep track of things, if you use some sort of a system to write down, to track, to give yourself deadlines, people are like astronomically, like 35%. I'm making that up. Don't quote me on this, but it's a high number, more likely to finish the task they started. So whatever that is for you, and sometimes it's those unpleasant tasks, those ones you just really dislike, that need a project management. There's a lot of free options with that too. Trello, so Jesse said Notion. I've seen people use that. ClickUp. What else have I seen use? Monday, Asana. There are so many options with like a project management. But even if you say like, Katie, Asana, I did that one time, I hated it. Okay, I don't like Asana either. It makes you feel better. I do like ClickUp and I do like Trello. I was just giving you all the free options if you want to hit them. But even if to just have some sort of even a calendaring system, I've seen photographers use. If I know I need to send out, you know, they deliver something tangible like an album, or they deliver final prints in a print box. I put that on the calendar. Work it back. Okay, if that's due 12 weeks or 15 weeks after the wedding, then what do I need to do 12 weeks before? How does that impact what I need to do 10 weeks, 8 weeks? So there's other ways to do that, but I'm just saying use the knowledge these smart people have of knowing that if we write it down or we create deadlines, that it actually happens. You can choose how you want to use that, but to be able to implement that will only be more helpful for your business, whether you have help or not. It'll be more helpful when you get help, because then they'll be able to see everything too. Be easier to onboard somebody. And then I think this is probably a no-brainer. I'd be an idiot if I got on here and never said anything about AI. I'm sure you all are using it for a lot of different ways, or in a lot of different ways, but I've seen it used well with recordings. Where you get on a client call and then a to-do list afterwards of what the client is going to do, what you're going to do for once the follow-up, and seeing that all written out nicely, saving those, putting them in a client folder. Of course, we're all using ChatGPT more than we should, right? Captions and such. When I said I was going to mention not using it, I would caution you against, if you're doing blog writing, don't use ChatGPT. Google is smart enough and will lower the index of your website based on if you wrote the blog with more than, I think it's like 40 or 50% in AI.
Yeah, machine.
Yeah.
Machine.
So I'm like, oh, Google, just being smarter than all of us, knowing what I wrote and what the machine wrote. So that'd be the only thing I'd caution you against. At that point, it'd be better to not blog. You're doing yourself a disservice, because Google is saying like your website is not important because you're AIing it. So I would just be really cautious with that. I'm certainly not the expert, but people are always like, why would I hire you to write blogs for me? I can just AI that. I'm like, just don't. You don't have to hire me, but just don't make bad decisions. And then email drafts and mood boards, and man, I've seen people use everything, logos and everything else. So those are my favorites. If you wanted some tips and tricks, do you guys want to talk about CRMs right now, or do you want to come back to it?
I think we can sit maybe 5 more minutes before moving to the talent management format agency, because it's kind of separate topics. So
yeah.
Couple questions for AI. I also want to open a discussion, because we just chatted with Daria that AI, like, let's say AI can solve so many business objectives, but most of the people use ChatGPT to rewrite. That's kind of, what are you doing with ChatGPT?
Captions and
I just write in my Instagram posts, I reply to every email. So that's we're not going to discuss. Everyone already ticks this box. What else? Like, because Katie, if you can elaborate on that, as well as everyone who is in the room, just share what else do you do with AI? I know that photographers use like the
For editing.
for editing, also like curating the gallery, picking the best pictures. What else do you do? Because it's also will be very kind of inspiring to know how we can use, because it's not substituting your time, but it help you to accelerate something or enhance something. This is how we approach that. So Katie, probably you can start sharing some kind of tasks, what you solve with AI. If there
Yeah.
are
There are two things that come to mind. One, I'm so hesitant to mention, but at this point, I'm gonna just continue my legacy of being an open book and heart on my sleeve, and I'm just gonna tell you, I use AI. It's called Fixer, Fyxer, I think, for my email. And I'm hesitant to tell you that because we do that for people. We ghostwrite emails. That is part of our task list and things.
Mhm.
But this AI Fixer will ghostwrite for you. So, and it, again, as they all do, they learn over time. So, and that has been a huge help for me. I get a ton of like weird emails. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this. This person wants this. We don't even have that. That's not a thing. People ask, I give them props for asking, but Fixer, does a really nice response, nicer than I would have. So I think that, if there's a way to try those out, which they often do, that's what I did, just try it and see if you like it and if you use it. I don't know if that question is directed at me, but if it was, it's called Fixer AI. And I think it's
Fixer for email.
Fyxer.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, I think the way I see it used the most is for the recordings, and getting like a transcript and the to-dos and but you guys, you may know even more than me, because AI at the same point, me and AI do we bash heads sometimes. So
It's this one, right? Katie,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Fixer. Thank you so much. But judging from the chat here, I see like most of the people here use it for the website or social media, or SEO blog post. Right?
Yeah.
For my
Yeah.
business development. I like that. You can write business plans also with ChatGPT. This is how we use it. I personally use it. I bounce business ideas, so like fine tune them.
Yeah.
Also, we would build on, right? Okay, you won't mind if we build on. We also, Daria, you're biggest fan of Perplexity. Do you guys know what is Perplexity? So it's like advanced ChatGPT, not advanced, but yeah.
Yeah. It's the same tool, and right now I think it's been acquired or like in talks with Amazon. But yeah, it's basically the smart Google, and what they do the better than ChatGPT is all the research that they need to do. For example, if you want to do research in your industry, like what's the competitor prices, or maybe you want to expand your business to, like, let's say you work in US and you want to expand it to Italy, and you want to check what kind of prices the competitors are charging there, what's the demand, even what's the percentage of the couples who choose in this destination, what's the most let's say desired within in Italy. So Perplexity, yes, it's just doing the great analysis of like so many sources that open to the public. So yes, that's a recommendation from me. Yeah. And
All right.
And also, if you don't mind, I would like to chime in as well.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex from Good Vibes. I'm helping the girls do the back end of this session. To the point of Katie mentioned that it's not a good idea to write blog posts with ChatGPT. It really isn't. Like, it's true that Google will rank you lower because of that. But there's also software that makes your blog posts, like, rewrites it to be less ChatGPT. So like you can also use that to like write it with ChatGPT and then rewrite it to actually make it appear as a human.
manipulation.
Yeah, because ChatGPT uses a certain vocab that is really like, you see it, you know it if you see it. So it simply uses different words that make it appear less ChatGPT. That's it.
More human. Also, we
Yeah.
tried to find the solution of creating the images, because we don't like not using someone's images, but create images with AI. This is something that we are like investigating right now. It's still imperfect, like 6 fingers or something like that. But yeah, we're working hard on this one. But yeah, we always try and test out some, and also optimizing the ad strategy. And I think that probably we can even do some live session exchange in the AI tools, because there are so many of them and they're incredibly helpful once you start using them.
I heard somebody just say they use it like a board of trustees, board of directors, like they use it as like an advisor. I'm thinking about making this decision. I'm thinking about hiring. I make this much. Is this a smart decision? Or I'm going to rent this studio, or I want to travel to this conference. And they'll like ask it. I don't use it for that, but I was like, oh, you're like talking to it like a real person. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like my strategy advisor. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I love it. I love it.
I love.
that you can use it as a personal CEO board. Do you want to touch base on a CRM and exchange our opinions here, or because I feel like there's actually
There is
so
a
many
lot of
options.
Notion people.
Notion people Monday, which is also good, I think, but it's more the preference of like what's convenient for you. The plan page, this one I don't know, but basically, guys, if you want to, you can save
Basecamp.
all the names in the chat and just check it out. Maybe you will like some of these resources. Ale Planner, Honeybook. I don't know, Katie, if you want to build on, or if you're familiar with some of the brands that, yes, chat has mentioned.
Well,
We
I
use
saw Jesse.
Airtable, by the way.
Airtable. Yep, that's the only one. I think for me, and you all are certainly entitled to your own opinions. My way is not the only way. There are CRMs, and then there's project management softwares, and they can be side by side. They don't have to be one is better than the other. They can be side by side, but they're different. And what I keep hearing, and it's fine, is people using project management softwares, Monday, Basecamp, Airtable, as a CRM. And you can do that. It's a way to organize everything, keep it all in one place. You can create your cards or decks, or they all have different names, right? You can do that. But I think there are some things, at least from my knowledge, that are inherently part of a CRM that a CRM is meant to do with proposals or contracts or invoicing and follow-ups, and that maybe a project manager can't do. I'm not sure about that, but in my mind, those feel very separate, and they take care of separate items. So Jesse, I'm going to pick on you for a hot second. I know a lot of people use Notion. A lot of our European clients use Notion. And I like it. We adapt to whatever program our clients use. We don't say if you want to hire us, you have to use Dosado, or if you want to hire us, you have to use Aisle Planner. It doesn't matter. We use whatever you use. So we've seen them all. So Notion I would put into that project management category for me personally. It does a lot of really great things and organizes information. But I guess for me, it doesn't feel like it replaces a CRM and some of the functionality there. But someone could definitely argue me wrong. But that's just my personal opinion on that.
Yeah, and I love Jesse's comments. Like, I will do whatever you want to do, Katie.
I will carry the banner for whatever you want.
You're the best.
So question, before we will move to the talent management topic, can you just real brief, because you have 17 people in your team, just again, let's say highlight what you do as a team, because it's not obvious for everyone in the room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you covering so everyone have a better understanding?
Can you help me? Are most people, is it a mix between photographers and planners, or do we have other categories as well?
We have all the categories, like Valentina is a makeup artist, and hello, I can see you here. Yeah, we have I think
this is the flower.
We have the florist.
Artists. Also.
Okay. I work for a florist. I've never done hair and makeup for someone before. I've never worked for, but we have a lighting company, we have a DJ, a band, lots of planners.
Okay. So yeah, majority is photographers, planners, and of course everyone. I saw that there's like cake artists also joined. So everyone.
Yeah, great. Okay. So the easiest way to describe it, my mother is 73. So I'm like, what do you do? I don't understand. And I'm like, we do everything they hate. So all of our clients, except for one, is in the wedding world. That was true for about 2 years. We just got a client that was not in the wedding world. Why she hired us is beyond me, but I'll help her. So as an artist, is something wedding related, which is great for us because you all speak the same language, you have feelings about the knot that people outside the wedding world wouldn't, or you have feelings about Vogue that people outside the wedding world were. There's a language and there's locations and planners that y'all know and everything. So we really
And the same Prada shoes.
to say what we don't do. But we do blogs, we do social media, we help planners with timelines, we help planners with vendor sourcing. So they'll say, reach out to these 4 photographers, get a proposal together. I have a call with a client next week and I need to present them all. Who's available? We do venue searches. So they'll say, I need a rooftop bar in Greece for this destination welcome party. And there we go. So I don't know if any of you just saw or if you follow May & Co Monthly. She's a planner and she does like, and she just posted like all the behind the scenes stuff that planners like don't get paid for, or you don't know you're paying a planner for. And a lot of that I was like, should I repost this? I didn't want to like, I'm not going to steal her thunder. She's got a huge following, but I was like, I didn't want to be weird, but that's all the stuff that we do. We do things that, oh, I need to find a second shooter. I need a flight to London. And then I want an Airbnb because my cousins are coming over from Turkey or where, I don't know where your cousins live, but, and so we do a lot of the logistics, the admin, the operations, and a touch in the marketing. I wouldn't say we're a marketing agency by any means, but there's just like those little tips that we've picked up along the way with blog posts and SEO and social media. Does that kind of help, or should I try to go into better detail?
I think it helps, guys. If you have like any questions to Katie, we can ask them like at the end of the session to clarify maybe some of the options services you're interested in. Yeah, thank you, Katie. I think with that we can move.
Yeah, let's move to
form management.
Okay. I think there's a big old logo on the next page, Alex, which you can likely skip. You don't need to stare at the logo for too long. I assume you guys are a bit familiar with this concept of a talent management where there's an agent. In this case, it's me. There's lots of them though out there. Not lots, but there's a few out there where they represent a select group of, I call them artists, but there are some agencies that do hair and makeup. They do floral. For me, it's just photo and video. So that is the more traditional. You guys are probably familiar with some of the other agencies here in the US, but they're popping up a little bit more frequently. And people certainly have questions about them. So the easiest way, we've spent way too much time talking about Masterfully Managed. I hope your brains are all okay. But Masterfully Managed is you pay us a certain amount every single month based on the tasks that you've asked us to complete. So it's a set amount. So if you book that month 2 weddings, you pay us that set amount. It's agreed upon, it's in a contract, at least a 6-month contract. If you book 10 weddings, you still pay us the same. You book 0 weddings, right? It's the same. With most talent agencies, and certainly with mine, it's percentage based. So that's the biggest difference. I get paid when my artists get paid. So when my photographers and videographers book jobs, they are paying me a percentage of that. And you say, well, why are they paying you a percentage? What did you do to earn that? There's a few different things. I'll speak to mine because I know every agency is set up differently. So for me, I'm helping with the booking process. So that initial from inquiry to booking. So inquiry to, so I'm generating proposals, finding time on the calendar for them to speak to the couple or the planner, revising proposals, sending contracts and invoicing. And then at that point, the artist kind of takes it back. So that's my initial, okay, you're booked, you're taken care of. You go back to the artist and go into whatever workflow they have. Some of you might send out resources or have it 1 month and 2 months and 6 months and whatever. So we take care of that initial, it is task related. It's that initial communication, but also, it's something that's hard to do if you're shooting a wedding or you're on a plane, or you're constantly on a plane, or you're trying to have some semblance of a normal life with your family or people you love. So that certainly solves that problem, which is similar to Masterfully Managed from that perspective, right? It's task oriented. But the biggest thing I'm noticing with Forma, and granted, it's a baby, and we're just getting into it, is the connection piece of it. So I'm skipping around a little bit here on my 1, 2, 3, but the strategy and the connections behind what I'm finding out with an agency, I'm able to go into rooms, and guys, at this point, like, I'm not going into crazy rooms. I'm just like, I'll go to these different conferences and such, and I'm able to speak the name of people that aren't there because they're shooting a wedding, or have you met so-and-so? I have a goal, personal goal. It's just like almost like a life mission, if you will. It sounds so silly to say that, but I want to make the world a smaller place. It's just, that's me life. That's not Forma. That's not Masterfully Managed. I want the world to be a smaller place. And how I feel like I do that is I connect people and I introduce them. So Forma was really formed by connections. I love that. I love saying, hey, Lynn Easton, have you met so-and-so? Because if you haven't, you need to. Hey, whoever, big person, have you met this person? And a lot of that is that difference between like a cold calling, which everybody sticks their nose up at, like, oh, I can't believe you would cold email them or cold message them. That's so cringe or whatever. I'm like, okay, like, I have feelings on that. We won't get into it, but it's the cold versus the warm. It's saying, hey, I think you two would get along great, or I think your clients, there's some overlap and intersection there, and here's why, and I want you guys to meet. So I love that part of it. And that's really the strength to me of my agency is one of my photographers reached out to me the other day. Do you know this planner in Atlanta? I said, I don't. Sorry, I really don't. And he goes, well, no, that can't be possible. You know everyone. And I do. I love knowing everyone. And so if your agent has a strength that you're not able, again, to cultivate because you're on the road or you're traveling, or they're able to make connections, speak your name in rooms that you're not in, that's where I see the strength of an agency. And there's the quick responses, and there's getting everything to them, in a way they want it. Oh, you didn't leave off the engagement session, or, we need a revision, or I have one planner, he's like, I need that line item every single time of travel. Some people don't care as long as it's included. Other people, everybody's got their preferences, but that's a lot for people to keep track of too. So I think I'll try to wrap this up here quickly, but I think that agencies, while I don't have a crystal ball, I think that agencies are a bit of the future, right? I think we're going to just keep seeing them continue to pop up. It's easier for planners. At least that's what I'm finding, and that's what I'm hearing. It's more convenient for them. One of my planners said, you mean I can just go to you and get 4 options versus like finding 4 emails or sending 4 messages on 4 different websites and copying and pasting all the same information and filling out these awful inquiry forms? I can just tell you the date and you can tell me who's available and what the starting price is. Yep, I could do that. So, I think it's like that kind of one-stop shop thing that planners like, and the convenience and the accuracy of it. And then I'll really quickly wrap up, if I can, with the how to pitch yourself, because that was something that we talked about on our initial call, Darian, is we talked about, I get probably 4 messages a day of photographers wanting to join the agency, which I'm incredibly touched and flattered by, but also like, this is 2 months old. Like, you don't know me. Like, do you want to hitch your wagon to me? I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know you, I just caution people. I'm like, would you just join any agency with any person representing you? So I would say, okay, do your homework, but people want to be a part of it. And I think while Forma is not accepting more artists, because I want to take care of the ones I've got and take care of the planner relationships I have. I don't want to have 50. I could have 50, and I don't want to have 50 and not be spread too thin and not be able to assist them properly. Anyways, is what sets the pitch apart for me. Although I haven't said yes to anyone, I would tell you I get a lot of them. And some people will share with me, my introduction. I'm from Italy. I'm from wherever.
Mhm.
Here's a link to my portfolio. To me, that's like, okay, the least you can do, right? But no one really says, I have not gotten one yet, of why they want to join it. Like, why me? Why Forma? And I don't know if it's just because it's like the new thing. I don't know if, do you know somebody? People will say, we share so-and-so in common. That's fine. Like, why do you want to join an agency? And so that would be my recommendation. If that's on the horizon for you and you want to join an agency, I would tell the person why you picked them, why you think that things align for you to be a part of that agency versus the others that are out there and the more to come. Because I think then that helps me to kind of like cut through the noise. Okay, I got 4 of these today. Cool, a bunch of beautiful portfolios and so many talented people out there, like hands down, incredible, and incredible artists. But why, if I know your why, your motivation, then that helps you to understand, like, is this a good fit? Could it be a good fit? Maybe I'm still going to say no, but you're top of the list when I feel like we've got a good system in place and I could add another, right? So that's my 2 cents on how to pitch yourself.
Yeah, we totally support that. Whenever you do the initial email, please do your research first. We talk about that a lot during our sessions. Okay, I
It's
think,
amazing.
yeah, thank you, Katie. I think we'll have like a few questions, like the time for a few questions, and you can write them in the chat, or we always encourage you to turn on your mic and your camera and have the almost real chat with Katie. But
Don't pitch yourself.
and pitch it. Oh, yeah.
But you can go to the next slide if you want and just put if you guys want to, if we don't have time, like, I'm an open book, really DM me or whatever. Oh, is there no?
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, let's start. And I see a question
Curated by Tara.
from Tara in the chat. Yes, but does this include branding depending on what your client is looking for? So, for instance, for a planner, building a personal brand, and Tara is a planner. Yeah, just
Okay.
yeah.
So we don't do branding in terms of like coloring and creating a logo and things like that. Like, we would rely on a professional to handle that. That's not something we have a skilled person for. What we do get a lot of is I have new branding, but it doesn't match my old website. And I've been given all of this new branding or this new copy or whatever, and I need the website overhauled. Or we Google our clients often. It's not a service a lot of people pay for, but it's like what we call an online presence review, where we just look and see, like, hey, you've got a profile with so-and-so that's like 6 years old. You don't even look like that anymore. You had hair back then or whatever. Do you want your headshots updated and your, portfolio curated and the description updated? So we do that for people, but not branding in a typical sense.
So it's more like consulting. So you can notice something and recommend to like update it, but if like some context of your own, like,
to give the direction.
Yeah.
We had a photographer just say, like, he wasn't booking the jobs he thought he should. And he's like, do you think I need a new website? And I was like, no, I don't think that's the problem. And one person, but it can be nice just to have somebody go, hey, you know what, it isn't my 15 grand if you need a new website anyways, but I'll give you my honest opinion. And I guess that's what people are using ChatGPT for, though.
Yeah, for the honest opinion.
Yeah, of course. You're not making decisions, but you're, again, like a advisory board for your talents. Okay, Tara got her response. Do you guys have questions? Because I have one, and I will just use it, like, take advantage of being a host of this conversation. So, Katie, question to you, because you said you're not hiring, but you have people, like, talents in mind who you want to, bring to your team. Can you at least highlight 3 criteria? What, let's say, sets the talent up, like, to stand out, or how you pay attention to the talent? 3 things that make you notice the talent.
Of course, you got to stump me right here at the end. You get timed out by the bell here. My first one is my most important one, and it's a hard one. Forma is collaborative in the sense of, I don't need my artist's approval to add another artist, but I do ask it. And to me, that's important because they're aligned with them as well. So anytime we've had someone new that wanted to join, I throw it out to the group. I'm like, what do you know about this person? If I don't know them, I want to know who they are as a person. Their portfolio can tell me everything I, visually need to see. But what's your reputation with other photographers? Because you all know each other and talk about each other. Everybody's guilty of it. So I do ask that. That is my most important criteria if I don't know the person. I think from there, the email and the delivery of it, that first impression and how you introduce yourself to me tells me how you introduce yourself to other people, clients, planners. So that speaks to me the value you place in the person's attention you're trying to gather from that introduction. So, that email does matter, even though I'm not accepting them. It matters. And then, and maybe even this is number 2, being a good person, being a talented artist. And I know that is subjective. I get that. And there's different styles, 100%. I'm not set on a certain style. If you look at our roster, you will see it's not editorial. It's not light and airy. There's a mix. So good person, talented artist. And then I look at those little cues of how they approach me, and I translate that to many other areas, whether I should or not.
Yeah, I love it. So, like as Alina said, be nice.
Be nice.
Conversation is number 1, actually. Yes, and referrals.
Yeah. Tara, we do accept Masterfully Managed clients. So if you needed admin operations assistance, we can help you. But on the Forma side of things, for new artists, for photographers or videographers, we're at capacity at the moment. So I hope that
wait list. Yeah, it's wait list. And just to build on Katie, because I know you're super transparent about your prices, we can find them like on your website, but can you tell us, the baseline, what your prices for Masterfully Managed start from for monthly?
Yeah, that's on the website. So no problem, Sharon. Social media management, if we're just doing social media for you, is $2,600 a month. And that's pretty minimal, I will say, at that price, but also fairly competitive. It is not my preference. If you need social media help, there are a lot of really talented social media people, and I will encourage you, I will talk to you, but I think there's other ways to go about it. I think our sweet spot is when we are fully engrossed in the brand and we're doing your website and we're responding to your clients and we're scheduling meetings and we're vendor sourcing or getting second shooters for you. And we're doing all the other things because then we know your brand. We know how you communicate, we know your values, we know what's important to you. Can you figure all that out if you're a social media management company? Yes, you absolutely can. But it's much easier when you're doing it every single day. And full service for Masterfully Managed is $3,800 a month. We estimate that, nobody makes us keep track of hours, but we estimate that at 10 to 12 hours a week. And then you get the whole team at that price. So whether you use them or not, whether you need a blog person, you need a Pinterest person, you need social media or not, the price is the same.
Yep, thank you so much.
And let's take the last question from Tara.
She's like,
Tara, you're the star of the day. Okay, that's a great question because I know that we have people from Europe, from Mexico, and from the US, but this agency is known in the US mostly. So there is an agency, Be Inspired PR. Katie, I'm sure you know. So the question is Forma kind of like Be Inspired PR or something different?
It is different. Be Inspired PR, while they would offer PR services, they aren't going out and trying to book their clients' wedding jobs, to my knowledge. They are truly a PR agency. So for Forma, we do PR. If you're one of my artists, one of them just got in Vogue yesterday, we did that for them. We got them in Vogue. That's wonderful, but that's good for everyone. It's good for the artist and it's good for me as your agency because I'm trying to book you more jobs. So I think the PR agencies, there's some really great ones out there. Be Inspired PR, my understanding is their work is strictly in submissions and publication, expert contributions, speaking engagements, podcasts, all like a more traditional PR route. And while Forma does PR for our artists, we don't only do PR. That's kind of like a little extra they get with us. Does that help, Tara?
Yeah, I would say the goal is different for Be Inspired PR, like other PR agencies. The main goal is to get you published. For Katie and former management or any other talent management team is like to grow your business, and PR is one component of that, if it makes
Great.
sense. So it's
You
multiple.
should have just answered the question. You did it better than me.
No,
Oh, just
it's usually easier to
it's a
build on.
teamwork.
Yeah, it's
It's easy to
teamwork.
build on. All right,
Yeah.
guys, and Katie, first of all, thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for covering two topics: how to streamline your admin to grow, and also how to approach this talent management scene that's growing and rising. And again, so many people pursuing you and chasing you, and also sharing your approach and your take to that. And thanks for everyone who joined today and who will watch the recording. And Katie, you are so generous. You shared all your contacts. So, guys, if you have more questions or you want to pitch yourself or test out your pitch, go ahead and
Book
reach out.
services.
Yeah, or book services and join the Masterfully Managed client roster.
Yes.
And tell us how it goes.
It's time to send your thank yous to Katie. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You are a lovely group with wonderful questions. And the few of you I can see your faces, you're very warm and loving. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
All
Thank you
right,
so much,
thank you,
Katie.
guys.
Thank
And
you.
we
And
will
Thank
go
you,
enjoy
guys.
your New York day.
Yes.
And enjoy the rest of your night, Europeans, and rest of your day.
Yes.
Awesome. If you know how to use emojis, please do.
Use them.
Reactions.
Yes, sending you some hearts and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Oh,
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.